G'day everyone. Proud to say Barkarati is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners. Welcome to Barkarati, the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But of course, I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. Of course, first up, Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
How are you, BP?
G'day, how you going, everyone? Starting to get a little bit of an idea about these America's Cup boats, aren't we?
Ooh.
Hey, I thought I'd jump straight in.
Straight into the cup.
Straight in, because, we've been waiting forever for this. I mean, realistically speaking, every cycle we do. But, the Olympics are done and dusted. What a fun time that was. But in the distant was always the Cup. But some pretty exciting footage, interesting racing, probably not 100% engaged at this stage, but definitely looking at performance and some pretty big standout ups and standout downs.
We'll do a full breakdown of it in Hot Time with Bice. So let's bring in Mr. Bice.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Bice?
Yeah, how's the sleep patterns, boys?
None. Well,
Yeah. So,
we don't. You and I, Bicey, we don't have them anyway.
well, that's right. I did Thursday night, Friday night watching it.
Yeah.
Actually went away on a bit of a golf day Friday for a
Yeah, I know.
Paddo's 40th.
Oh.
And we ended up, all we do is just gather around a phone at the restaurant watching bloody America's Cup sailing.
I've worked out the YouTube channel. So for all the listeners out there that don't want to pay for watching TV, YouTube channel the next morning. So if you're in the Aussies, it's late at night. You can't. It's too hard. But you go into the YouTube channel first thing in the morning, and all the races are there, and you can they're all replayed. So if you just search Louis Vuitton America's Cup, and you can just go boom, and you can speed through when it gets a bit boring. And so yeah, that's how I've picked it
Well,
up.
we have a KO here, which we pay for, but I only pay for the Australian rules football. It just happens that the yachting's on it.
Oh, okay. Because they're such identical sports.
Yeah.
Okay.
More info to come, of course. But quickly before we do, Hen,
Yep.
Oh, what?
chatting to our friend Pat Langley during the week
Oh, yes.
about the shirt discussion.
It's all happening.
Arrived yesterday morning. What's on the front porch? A box full of kit.
Oh,
Take with some
samples.
Samples.
sample pieces. For I tell you, it's good gear.
Why
It's
don't we
good
have a
gear.
look at
This
them?
could be it, boys. We might be retiring off of this.
Hey,
Oh,
What's about to happen?
yep. We could be. Make sure you send AD some of those images we need to send a Bice.
Ah, yes. Yeah. Correct.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get our guests in. We've got an interesting show this week. One of the things that we like to do at Barkarati is try and promote the sport. That's the whole reason we exist. It's the reason we spend all our money and cost ourselves all this time is to promote sailing and promote the sport and try and give lots of pathways. And we reckon every boat's cool. We reckon going sailing is cool and you just jump in and do it. There is a very cool boat that I've always loved for many years out there. And the fact that I'm focusing on boats tells you we're going to do one of our class discussions. The reason we've jumped onto this class is it's an international class. It's got a great Australian history. The world champs are coming in a few months to Oz. They've picked a nice quiet time of the year. Going to have the world champs 2nd of Jan to the 10th of Jan. So, in Sydney, which, should be cheap and easy to get to. They've got a little quiet thing you could watch the day before, New Year's Eve. But this is going to be pretty cool. These boats are very cool, and we'd like to discuss more about them. So we've got the class of boat is the B14. And we've got the New South Wales president of the B14 class, Ryan Gerrish, who's got a beautiful New South Wales accent, which you'll pick up straight away. And we've dragged him away. He's in the middle of Hamo at the moment. We've dragged him away to chat about B14s. Ryan, welcome to Barkarati, mate. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Ryan, before we start, you are rather sprightly, given that it was the last day of Hamo yesterday. So, were you out last night, and just for the listeners, this is 6:30 in the morning. So, yeah, Bravo. That's what I
Yeah,
can say.
no, I've just had a cup of tea, so that's what's giving me the energy this morning. But we did go to the sort of the prize giving presentation dinner last night, which was really good fun. So
It's a big night, isn't it?
Well, we
it's a
appreciate
big night. Yeah.
we appreciate you sacrificing your sleep in. I tell you, mate.
No, it's okay. Anything for sailing, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, there you go. Good.
There we go.
Mate, you are
Yeah,
passionate about sailing. When I do my little bit of research, I found, I think you're in the property world is what I've worked out. And I found this article where you wrote, I think it was a comparison of sailing and property development, I think it was. Is that
Yeah.
where you did this whole correlation? I thought, oh, wow, this boy loves his sailing to do that little one. That was cool.
Yeah, no, I mean it's really interesting because I think a friend of mine from the UK that I've sailed with for years said he's a sailing instructor and says to his students, we're only partly here to learn to sail. So it's all the other things, the teamwork, the resilience, the kind of all the other things that you learn from sailing.
Right.
And I was sort of thinking about that and how actually he's right, and you can apply it to anything. So why not real estate?
I'm interested because I'm a little baffled also. Property, you throw money in, you're meant to make it. Sailing, you throw money in and you lose it.
Absolutely.
You can probably lose money. You can probably lose money in property development as well. So just put it in that sort of basket.
Well, it's both a very win or lose, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But the sort of things, and I've just had to look up the article, but the things that I sort of thought about were forecasts. So, what are property market conditions doing? What's the weather doing? It's kind of, we have to kind of think what's going to happen, anticipate, what the market will do. Do people want to buy the thing you're building or not? Is the wind going to go left or right? Obviously, your competitors on the race course, where are they? What are they doing? Which way are they going? Similar with real estate, local knowledge, very important. The skills that you've got, and obviously teamwork, having a great team. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of crossovers there.
Yeah.
Well, no, got me. I'm in.
Yeah, let's buy some property.
Sold to the man in the grey jumper.
That's it.
Sold to the man in the grey jumper.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about yourself quickly. So before you get to a B14, you sound like you got a Pommy accent. So you've moved to Oz to go B14 sailing. Is that what's happened, or did you grow up sailing? Did you get into it late? What's your pathway?
Yeah, so I grew up in Dartmouth in Devon in the UK, which is a big sailing venue. Lots of regattas.
Dartmouth.
Yeah. Dartmouth.
Let's explain it properly now.
Just near Worcester.
Yeah,
I will have a few laughs about this, Ryan, because a lot of my business work is in the UK, and they go, "We're going down to Weymouth." No, you're not. You're going to Weymouth.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I've certainly got that local New South Wales accent going.
No, sorry to butt in. So go on, keep going.
No, it's it. So I grew up sailing there with my mum and dad, who had a boat there, a small gaff cutter that they built together when they got married. It's a great story. And then so I grew up sailing there, did some dinghy sailing, just toppers and bosuns that we sailed at the sort of local club. And then my parents bought a J80 when I was about 12 or 13.
There you go.
So I sailed J80s as mainly a trimmer for kind of about 10 or 15 years or something like that. And then moved to Sydney because I'd had enough of living in London. Thought, well, let's go and live by the sea again and go and do some sailing. And the B14 was kind of, I first learned about the B14 when I was a teenager, and I was watching the awesome Aussie Skiffs video that Ron Stan made about, I don't know what it was, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Really long time ago. And I used to watch these videos of these really cool boats sailing around these great locations in Australia. And as a yacht sailor, I thought, well, I'm probably not going to go and sail an 18-foot skiff. But the B14 has got so many great characteristics to that class that I thought, hey, let's give that a go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the B14, it's a two-person skiff is the best way to describe it. No trapeze. You're on wings, so you get out on the wings and you hike. It's a Bethwaite design. I'm pretty sure Julian Bethwaite designed it. Looking at it, it looks very much like... I know I had a long chat to Julian about some of his designs. It looks very much like the current 18 sort of style a little bit. You know, it's when was it? Probably mid-90s or something. He designed it.
Yeah, it was designed in 1986.
Yeah, I was going to say it's in the mid-80s.
Mid-80s, yeah.
Yeah. So but it's been around longer than I've been alive.
Oh wow.
So only by a year. So yeah, it was designed by Julian based on the 18-foot skiff. So it was designed to be lightweight, have a high power to weight ratio, and be fast. And it still has a striking similarity to the 29er and 49er, which came
100%.
after.
I was just about to say if you look at all the Bethwaite designs and even the Taser for that matter, you know that there's a whole heap of knowledge that came from the Taser into the B14, and then sort of transgressed into the 29er and 49er.
Yeah,
that's kind of what
if you sort of squint at the Taser, it sort of looks like the same hull. So
it's squinty. You put it in like a little square box and then it a bit.
Yeah. But it's been really interesting. We actually had a B14, a 29er, and a 49er lined up on the slipway at Woollahra Sailing Club a few weeks ago, and they really do look like a family. So, in fact, so similar to the 49er, my mum thought that she was watching B14s at the Olympics. I had this photograph of the television with some 49ers, and she said, "This is what you sail, isn't it?" I said, "Well, very similar."
Yeah.
But
same designer.
Same designer, very similar characteristics. And I actually looked this up. I think it's got about 1 square meter less sail area than the 49er FX. So it's also 2 foot shorter. And doesn't have trapezes. So it's quite powered up for the length of the boat. And I read somewhere it is still the world's fastest 2-person hiking dinghy.
Right.
And
after
that would be 100% true.
years.
So if you're very powered up, what sort of crew weight do you need to sail them?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a big range, actually. I think some of the lighter crews are sort of 130 kilos or around that.
Taser sailors.
Yeah,
Pacer sailors.
Absolutely. So we've got some crews that are quite lightweight. We've got some husband and wife teams. We've had crews that are a parent and their kid out sailing together. And it goes right through to the kind of the 2 sort of 80 kilo type, so 160, 70 odd kilos. So there's quite a wide range. And sort of really on the water, it just means that if you're very heavy, you go great upwind in the blow and a bit slower downwind. And if you're very light, you might go a bit slower upwind, but very fast downwind. So the racing is still relatively even, we've found.
It's actually a very interesting class as well, and it's sort of a continuation of the Taser, where it is a family-orientated class, and a lot of dads and kids and mums and kids, for that matter, sail together. It's something that the Bethwaite sort of tradition has long held in Australia with the development of the Taser and through the B14. So that is very obvious globally. Do you think, Ryan?
Oh, absolutely. We've got a great range of age groups sailing the boats from sort of younger right through to people in their 70s. So it's really a boat that people sail for many years, because I think you can grow up with it and you can grow into it. I think that's a very fair statement. And we've got a real big mix of male and female crews and teams as well.
So have they evolved much since they've sort of been made? Like as the back in the mid 80s, wouldn't have been square top rigs. So, and I'm not sure we would have been carbon mast, probably not. So I'm interested, have they evolved much?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and that's one of the great things about the class. It started off with a really modern hull shape back then. So, it's still stayed up to date with the way the class has evolved. So it did start off with an aluminium rig with a sort of bendy fiberglass tip, which was one of the 18-foot skiff things from the time. It used to have Dacron sails with a sort of a smaller sail plan. And over the years, the class adopted carbon fiber masts, and the wings went from alloy to carbon as well. We've had some weight reductions over the years as well. And with the upgraded sail plan and a few sort of hull changes to the deck layout to sort of stiffen the foredeck and things like that, where older boats were a bit weak. The class has managed to stay up to date and still looks very modern today. But also it is a one design, so those changes have been very carefully thought through to make sure that the class doesn't sort of get left behind and isn't overly expensive to keep within the rules.
Well, that's a key point. I mean, price is really, really important. You can pick up an older one and sort of do a little bit of work to it, or you can get the brand new one and you can still sort of get on the water.
Yeah.
And that's the goal, isn't it? And that's the beauty of that class. Yeah,
absolutely. In fact, we had a museum piece that was found in a pickles auction.
Oh.
I think it was earlier in the year actually, and someone sort of found it. It was described as a sort of no-name, unbranded dinghy, and someone found this sort of complete B14.
No.
Complete with the alloy rig, alloy wings,
wow.
the original sails that were sort of a one manufacturer issued Dacron set. And for $1, which is what it plus fees, it was back on the water sailing with us in Woollahra. It was fantastic.
That's a good one. What's that one called? What's its name? What's it sailing?
Well, we don't know exactly, but it's now known as the Pickles boat.
The Pickles boat.
Well, it's also green, so it's sort of a great name for it.
It's quite appropriate, Ryan, because I'm just on the B14 World's website here, and it's meet the teams from nudists to real estate agents. Check out the team here.
That is still a feature that's coming soon.
Interesting. I've had a look through the cockpit. Yeah, look out.
Yeah, no, it's really funny. We have a boat called the Nude.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's and it was. So Richie and Lisa have been in the class for years and years and years, and they thought it would be funny when they sort of won regattas to say, Richie and Lisa sailing in the nude when they would give out the prizes.
Love it.
So they just kind of really went with it. And when they got a new boat, sort of, Lisa said, "Oh, yes, we can absolutely have a new boat as long as I can name it and choose the color." So
Right.
And I'm guessing this is this kind of. Is it the peachy colour one? Is that them?
Yeah, that's them.
Oh,
yes.
dear.
Yeah, that's them. And they've had about 4 B14s. All of them have been some shade of pink.
Yep, there you go.
Mine is actually
we're not going to go
there. Mine is one of their old ones that somebody resprayed white, so it's underneath the paint chips you can still see the pink gel coat.
The original.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, what do you like sailing? What do you like about sailing a B14 most?
Yeah, there's two things really. I think if you like a challenge, it's great for that. I mean, being a yacht sailor, going into a skiff has been really a really steep learning curve for me because I was a jib and kite trimmer, so I get how it all works. But helming something that is so high performance, where crew weight, positioning, and technique is so critical, has been I love the challenge of that. Obviously the amazing downwind spinnaker eyes, hitting 19 knots or whatever has been great fun. One of the best things has been the community. I think, turning up with a B14 and no idea how to rig or sail it. The local B14 sailors have been amazing. And certainly when you go to an event, it's a great atmosphere. We're all a great bunch of people. So it's really those two things. It's a great boat to sail. It's one design and it's got great people in it. Yeah.
I think I'm interested, the thing about a one design fleet is, there's good tight racing, which, as when you come from the keelboat, sometimes you don't get it as much because you're not all racing identically. And so that, when you start and come off a start line where everyone around you is identical, you've got to really be on your game, it gets all pretty tight. So, what about swinging from the wings? You had any crazy sort of crashes because of that, or?
Not really. I think I've had some crazy falling off the wings.
Yeah.
I went out with a a 49 Olympic coach who I won't name. And I was like, I need you to teach me how to sail this thing. And we went out, and it was quite a windy day on Sydney Harbour, maybe sort of 15 to 18 knots, and we bore away, and he just got washed straight off the wing.
Wow.
And left him behind. So he said, "Oh, I'm not used to these toe straps."
That's it. That's it. Knew that was coming.
Yeah, I've heard of people, ending up underneath the wing, sort of falling over the front of it, because you tend to hike at the very front of the wing upwind, and sort of you've had the sort of the bottom fall off the wing and end up underneath it. I even saw an optimist pop out from underneath the B14 wing a few months ago. So,
wow. There you go.
Wow.
I've had my wings caught around many leeward marks as well. So you have to sort of not forget, because the boat's about 10 foot wide with the wings, so you have to sort of keep your eye on where they are.
Love it. On a 18 or a 9er, when it's windy and you get to the top mark, bearing away is sort of an exercise in getting your ass as far back as you can and picking your spot to turn down. Is it the same with the B14? You've got to pick your spot when you turn down, or they're pretty controllable on the bear away?
I think in comparison, they're quite controllable. I've never personally seen a B14 nosedive.
Oh. We can fix that. Give us one.
Yeah, I'll give you one. Welcome to come down.
We'll put a normal-sized human being on the bow.
Brian, we want to see you push harder, mate. Come on.
Yeah, so I haven't seen one nosedive, and I have stuck the bow into a big wave doing exactly that, the fairway, and it sort of did pop out again. So I think it's relatively controllable. I sailed it with a cherub sailor who was, even just sort of sailing around before the start, was really worried and was like, "We need to move further back." He was really panicking about moving further back. I was like, "It's fine, mate. Don't worry."
Yeah.
So it's all right.
Yeah.
Like, we can do some spectacular capsizes, which I have done in many different ways. So it hasn't nosedived. It's done almost everything else you can think of.
Well, we need to. It sounds like you've set a challenge there. Like, I reckon. When are you doing your Worlds in San Francisco? Because
I don't know.
You can do a full. I mean, I've seen everything.
Are you volunteering as a crash test dummy, Jordan
San
Spencer?
Francisco, water's too cold. But I'd love to put one.
Let's always an excuse, Jay.
So speaking of the Worlds, though, predominantly UK and Australia, right? Do you swap over Worlds, or how's that kind of that work?
Yeah, so we have our every 18 months we have one in one hemisphere or the other. So the last event was held in Lake Garda in Italy.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Why would you sail there?
Pretty shit.
Well, apparently it's better than the UK, is what I'm told.
Dartmouth.
As a sailing venue, or Portsmouth, or any of the other.
Or Weymouth, any of the mouths.
All the mouths.
Yeah, we tend to do one in sort of Europe. The last one in Sydney was cancelled because of that virus that we had. So now, luckily, we're back in Sydney for this event. So we alternate to try and.
Did you go over to Jakarta, Ryan?
I didn't. No, I'd only actually owned my B14 for about 6 months before had to decide to go or not, and I thought it would be not the right time.
Oh, you got to go to Garda, mate. No excuses for Garda. Yeah.
So
next time.
Yeah. Okay. In the case of the international events, so I guess everyone pulls together and gets a container, and because how many can you get in a container? You'd probably get, I don't know, 6 or something, maybe more.
Yeah, it's something like that, I think. But that's it. We organise a sort of a container or possibly 2, and then ship all the boats off in whichever direction they're going. So the Brits are very busy at the moment, sort of organising their containers. We've also got the Musto Skiffs who are doing a joint event with us. So
cool.
Organise with them about as many boats and containers as possible.
We should roll into another class chat about that, Jay.
You should.
Yeah, the Musto's a great little boat as well.
So how many UK boats are coming down?
At the moment, I'm not entirely sure. So we know that they've started booking slots, but we think it's going to probably be about probably overall, if we get 20 odd boats all together. Yes. So maybe it'll be 8, maybe it'll be 10 from the UK. I don't know.
Wow.
It'll be.
Bigger.
I think it's a good idea where you've sort of the combination with the Musto Skiff, so you can sort of share costs across fleets a little bit. Maybe even, I suspect you can almost put them both in the same container. Like you could actually reduce that. So if you're a listener that wants to come to the Worlds, it sounds like you can still jump into a container. The boats haven't left yet. So if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and you have the equivalent of Pickles auctions and you find a
$1 B14.
A B14, you could just jump on board. And come. So where's the racing for the Worlds?
It is going to be in Sydney, on Sydney Harbour. And so we're hosting it at Woollahra Sailing Club, which is on Rose Bay, and the sailing will take place on the harbour. So it couldn't be a more iconic spot, really. Yeah, you've got that really cheap takeaway restaurant next door called Catalina's, which they'll be able to spend. Your visitors won't have to spend too much. You won't need much pocket money to attend there. I think I did once.
Fish and chips wrapped up in newspaper.
You'd be able to land your seaplane, just come in, grab a quick breakfast from Catalina's, straight onto your boat, off you go.
Absolutely.
Park it on the boat ramp there. There's a nice beach just at Woollahra. You can park it on there.
Yeah, the boat ramp's there, and there's a lot of we've got lots of other really cool sailors at Woollahra. So there's lots of international moths. We've got 49ers, and we've got a whole bunch of 29er sailors. So it's a cool skiff. I'm going to call it a skiff club, but it's really a community sort of sailing club.
And the latest one, the IQ foiling home, it's Gray Morris's club. So you've got a medalist. You've got a medalist.
Absolutely, it's fantastic. So we're very lucky to have some really awesome talent at that club. If you go upstairs, it's there's a flag from the 2000 Olympics signed by all of the athletes, which is amazing as well. So
So if the courses are going to be on the harbour, is what you're saying? So
that's right.
Yep. So the harbour these days is quite empty, so there's plenty of space. You don't have to worry about ferries, and it's going to be an interesting experience for the overseas visitors. Because will you do it actually up in Rose Bay, or will you go out into the main body of the harbour, or what's the plan?
No, so it depends on the wind direction, but usually we go out of Rose Bay because the wind in there is extremely it's very shifty and gusty in Rose Bay. Yep. So we tend to go out of Rose Bay.
Really only works in a sort of that southeaster, doesn't it, inside the bay?
Yeah, that's it. So we sort of go out past Shark Island, into the main part of the harbour. As you're right, we have all of the ferries and all of the motorboats, the tourist boats. And it's a bit like an obstacle sometimes, but still the best place to sail, I think. But
the motorboats, the 13 knotters. That's what they do. They cruise around 13, 14 knots, bow up, and about a 3-foot wave.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you don't nosedive on a B14, though. That's right. You don't get caught in the back edge of it.
No, but we get caught in every other part of the motorboat.
Yeah, exactly.
For the overseas people trying to identify the harbour we're talking about, if you go and watch Sail GP, when they go, they actually split around Shark Island. If you go and watch the Sydney Sail GP, you'll see quite
exactly
clear.
Right. Yep. And that is actually Rose Bay on the other side of that island, correct?
Yeah.
That's it. So it's the same sailing area essentially is Sail GP. Absolutely, and it's a great place to sail as long as you keep your eye out for the ferries and the other boats.
Let's be honest, it's one of the great. It's great fun. Like if you're going to sail Sydney Harbour, if you're having a crap race. You're not having a crap race because you've still got plenty to look at, like you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you go, oh, well, we're having a shit race. Let's just take in the scenery, or there's passing lanes everywhere in Sydney Harbour. That's all I'll say. Yeah, it's very hard to protect the lead. It'd be good. I mean, it's a grand experience coming down to Woollahra, and a good club, great club. Love Woollahra.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the, Ryan, when the Poms do come down, I'll say that, of course, in a friendly way. Is there the rivalry? Have the Aussies been on top? The English been on top? How's that worked out in the past?
Yeah, there's great rivalry between the two countries. So the last world champion is a British boat. So and the Aussies came second.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Well, they were sort of, on the same points at the end of it. But so yeah, there's a great rivalry at the top of the fleet. But as there is in any fleet, of course. So yeah, we've got to try and make sure that we make the World Championship Australian this year, given we're hosting it. So yeah, we'll do our best to try.
I sense Weir. Have you officially taken the pledge? Have you crossed sides? Have you?
Oh, you mean do I have Australian sail numbers?
Nice answer.
Yeah. No, I do. I'm a citizen as well, so I'm Australian. Despite the confusing accent, I'm Australian and British. So, but I'm sailing under Australian sail numbers, and will be doing my best to win it for Australia.
All right,
nice. There you go.
Okay, let me genuinely suss this out. If the rugby's on, Australia versus the Poms, which team are you supporting?
Well, I don't really follow rugby, so
okay, the cricket.
I'm only into sailing.
The cricket.
It's funny. I'd probably say, hey, let's just go for Australia at this point.
Oh, yeah. My wife's been here 20-something years, and she still barracks for the Kiwis. The dirty bitch.
Well, put it this way: when I was watching the America's Cup last time, and even this time, I kind of want New Zealand to win it because it's
wow,
this part of the world,
close to home.
Wow.
It's closer to home, and obviously the Brits, let's hope they do really, really well. But I think it's interesting that everyone asks me the same question, and I'm like, well, I am Australian. I choose to live here, and I came here, and I want to support the sports that we do.
Good on you. All right. So, who are the favourites? Have you got any idea of favourites?
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting question, isn't it? So I think I'm going to have to go for last year's world champion, Mark Watts, who's British.
Yep.
But Australian side, we've got Craig Garmiston and Paul Fleming, who were second in the worlds.
Yep.
We've also got Lee Dunstan and Paul Newman, who are fantastic sailors as well. They're both in Queensland, and also the locals as well, Richie and Lisa, sailing in the nude. So all of those boats could be.
And sailing in the nude. Sailing in the nude.
Good on them.
Yeah. So all of those three boats, I think, are going to be up there for sure.
So it's
time tied to times, mate. It's how it is these days. You're allowed to sail in the nude.
No, well, I was just going to ask BP: is the netting is it mesh netting on the wings? Like, is his ball sack going to get caught between the?
No, they
can't.
No, they did away
ready
with
to tack.
netting.
No. He's the main sheet.
No, they had to go to sort of solid material. Actually, I'm sure that was the reason.
Yeah, it makes sense. So when I
Ryan, just to jump in, we love a bit of banter on the show, as you might have suspected, and there's some good banter between the teams. I'm just having a good way to tell. I think you have a look down the results list and see the names of the boats to check the creativity as well. And it's pretty good. Have a look down the list here, boys.
That's what we like.
We got a bang bang.
Yeah.
We got the snatch. We got the flying donkey. So no, and I want to see definitely some sort of banter regarding convicts coming up in this year's Worlds.
I think there's going to be a lot of all of that, to be honest. There'll be some good banter between the teams, and it does get quite competitive. We have a couple of onshore activities that are kind of competitive games that we don't know what they will be this year, but we've had optimist races, we've had all sorts of other things that we do, to really just have a lot of fun together. Absolutely.
You probably experienced it, Ryan. You probably experienced it, Ryan, when you first got here. But one of the things you can say, especially to any of the Poms that have never been here before to the harbour, you say, "Look where you bloody idiots sent us."
Yeah, I mean that, and also the drop bears as well. We'll have to have some fun with those.
Drop bears, yeah, love it.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to do that a lot back in the days at Worlds. We'd do all the games, and that sort of disappeared. And I wish it could come back. It was a raucous night, everyone's laughing and carrying on. If you come up with some fun games. That was. I'm not sure if you're allowed to do that stuff anymore, but anyway.
Well, Yeah, no, as long as they're, as long as the health and safety officer's been passed, and says they're okay, it's fine, right?
Culturally appropriate.
Culturally
Of course.
appropriate.
Yeah, well, we had a really fun game at our nationals, and it was where you get the cereal box, and you all have to try and pick it up in your mouth without using your hands or your knees. So you have to sort of bend over and pick it up. And then every time you've done a round and someone drops it, you cut a layer off the box so it gets smaller and smaller.
Right.
And we ended up with my crew, who was in his 30s, and Lisa from the news, who is
in the
turned 60. And they were the last two fighting for this sort of centimeter of cereal box. It's just really good fun. It's and that's the kind of class that we are. We like to have a good fun off the water and have a real good time together.
I've got one for you. Given that there is a large number of English-based competitors, you could have a very, very simple game where you just put a bar of soap on the table and just say, pick it up. So we call you soap dodgers, mate. That's.
Oh, do you?
I was actually wondering where you were going there for a second.
Yeah, no, just it's an old. It used to be one of the nicknames for Poms in Australia is the soap dodgers. We used to call the Poms the soap dodgers, and so it's just a story that.
Don't explain it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
There's either people cringing or laughing right now.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't heard that one. So,
that's cool. When I look at past world champs, you've got a few standouts. You've got from the UK, Tim Fells. I think he's won 4 times. I'm not sure who his crew. And then Guy Bancroft from Australia has won it 3 times. So there's some quality performances. And you've got Sean Barber in the UK, a 3-time winner. Nick Craig 2 times and Toby Lewis a couple of times. I'm interested. Are they out of the fleet now? Do you know those names at all?
I do know all of them. I think I've heard all the names. The only one I think is not sailing at the moment is Guy Bancroft. But certainly all the others I think are still there. And I've watched lots of B14 YouTube videos. Training, I call it. All of those names come up, so I recognise all the names, and I'll be really pleased to meet a lot of them as well.
Yeah, cool.
When they all come over.
Where are the fleets racing around the world? And then even more specifically, where are the fleets in Oz would be interesting as well. So where around the world? So from my research, there was Japanese fleets, Hong Kong fleets, there's fleets in Europe and here in Oz. Is that right? Is there more? Or?
Yeah, no, that's right. I think there might be the odd one in America somewhere, but we don't really know. We do have a couple of boats, I think, in sort of Germany and France. There is one in Japan, I think that's right. But it's predominantly the UK and Australia.
How good would it be? In the US, like the B14 would go pretty well in the US, I would have thought. Like there's a few sailing spots that go really well.
I think so. I saw, recently the Melges 15 has really caught on in the US.
Yeah.
Very, very, very different kind of boat. But I think if you'd enjoy that, you'd enjoy a B14 as well.
100%.
Honestly, so I think we need to get over there and set up a marketing off a super yacht with some champagne and a few try days, probably 15 days there.
Love it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
In Australia, the main fleets are New South Wales and Victoria.
Yeah.
We've got 6, 7 B14 sailing out of Woollahra. And the rest of them are sort of down at Safety Beach and Macrae down there. So
you said some of the favourites were from Queensland. Some at the last Worlds, there was a couple of Queensland boats. I wonder where they sail up in Queensland.
Do you know? I don't know actually.
That's all right.
I'm quite new to the class.
Yeah,
still,
that's fine. Yeah.
I know there is one Queensland boat that's from Brisbane, but they sort of sail it. They've sort of brought it down for events down here, so I'm not sure.
Probably at the great is it Darling Point? Beautiful little blue roof thing, I'd say up there. Okay, that's cool. So in terms of if people were interested in the Worlds, if they want to come and watch, it's Sydney Harbour, so you can watch anywhere in Sydney Harbour. If they wanted to volunteer, there'd be obviously opportunities to just reach out to Woollahra, or is there that's probably the best way, or the B14 Worlds website, I think, is the best bit. So B14 Worlds is the website.
Yeah.
And if, for your perspective, getting ready for the Worlds, mate, what are you doing to get prepped? Are you getting a whole new set of sails? Are you gonna do an overhaul on the boat? You're gonna fix those paint chips? What's the plan?
Yeah, so I've just ordered a new set of sails in the North Sails One Design discount, which is running through August. So there's still time to get your 15% off. A few boat jobs to fix. But we've also organised throughout a couple of weekends in November to do some class fleet training with one of the coaches at Woollahra Sailing Club. Mark Chapon is going to take us out. He's going to be in the rib, and he's going to do some drills, some Olympic training style drills with us to try and get the fleet sharp for January. And if anyone has a B14 that wants to come and join in, they can just contact us through the B14 Worlds website.
Very cool. Very cool.
Probably a good note to say as well for the international B14. It's probably not too late to get involved. So hopefully this podcast gets out to a few people that may were sort of just thinking about it, but I think it's a good opportunity for them.
Absolutely. And we've already had someone ask us if we can find him a crew, so he'll bring his boat over if we can provide him with a crew. So there's plenty of time to do our best to help.
What size crew do you need? What's he want? Do you specify weight and skill set?
Well, he said he was on the heavier side. And he's
that's us out, Joe.
Yeah, we're out.
Yeah, in the. But I think he just wants a crew, right? So if it's a windy event.
Yeah.
Joe, you ever sailed a B14, mate?
No, I'm keen though. I've always liked them. I genuinely, I like the. I can't trapeze anymore. My knees can't do it. Like, I've been told never to trapeze again, so that's sort of killed a lot of my joy. But I still want to muck around, and I do like the idea of the B14.
I actually used to work for Julian at Woollahra Sailing Club, and we were out on all his old boats and all the tasers, and his father Frank was a stalwart of the club, and because Ryan Bethwaite used to have the shed underneath where McMillan is now, and built all the 49er wings there, and did a lot of Bethwaite sailing. Had my 49er there, but the B14s were very strong then. Tasers for that matter. So it was all good time, and Bethwaite's, he's a beauty. Julian, his father Frank, fantastic people. Yeah,
well, it sounds like fun. We wish you guys luck, and so if you are listening, you go, okay, I'm half interested. As you can tell from Ryan's discussion, he's got into the class and he's loving it. There's plenty of videos on YouTube. So if you want to have a bit of a look-see at that, you can actually jump on that. The
Probably
B14
worth a check on Gumtree and see if you can find one up.
But the B14
trade me in Europe
website is the world's is b14worlds.com. So jump onto that if you want to come down and have a bit of a look. They're as you said, they're very cool boats, and they've stayed modern. Is the honest answer. You get to go and see all sorts of different people at the event. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, so that's cool.
I think that's the key word, Jay, and I'm sure Ryan, you'll back that up. It's fun,
and it's in conjunction with the Musto Skiffs, so there's going to be plenty of activity and spectator-friendly stuff going on, is what I would suggest. And if you're overseas, you can still get your boats here, is the other thing. Or even charter. They're probably, depending on how well Pickles goes for everyone, we might be able to find other ones for them. But yeah. All right. So best of luck for the B14s in the world. If you want to go for a sail on a B14, probably reach out to Woollahra or Ryan, and then, they can, wherever you're based, will find one, is what I'm picking up from that. That's probably right. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely right. We'll be more than happy to take people out, and so you can see what it's all about.
Yeah, good man. All right, Brian. Now, before we throw you away, I wanted to give us a little bit of time to talk about what you're doing right now. You've just, as you said at the start, you've just had presentation, so you've been up at Hamo. Tell us about what Hamo's been like this year, mate.
Oh, it's been amazing. It's my first time doing it, and it's been a fantastic week. We've had we've had sort of winds in the sort of 10 to 12 knots, sometimes gusting a bit over that. We've had some amazing races. It's been incredible to see the so many boats out in this fantastic location. It's been great. So
obviously,
pretty special place to sail, isn't it?
Yeah,
very special.
Yeah. And the other thing is obviously, with your UK background, sailing in the middle of winter in Hamo, it's been tough on you, the environment.
Yeah, it's been very difficult. Yeah, it's very, very challenging. It's so different. I'm sailing in shorts and t-shirt here, where I would probably never do that even in summer back home. So
yeah,
it's been great, and to see all the other sailors as well, having such a great time, and also the variety of the fleet is amazing. We've got trailer sailors at one end, through to kind of wild oats and wild thing at the other. So there's a whole range of boats, and it's been so great to see everyone out there having a great time.
I used to love the cruising division. That was the funniest. They're all staying on their boats, and you get down there in the morning, and there's all the professionals coming down, and we were all amongst the sort of elitist sort of sailors. The ones with the full on race boats, and then down the other end is the cruisers with their towels hanging out over their stanchions and their undies on the boom.
And it's great. I mean, we were starting yesterday, and I sort of said, there's the cruisers are starting off before us, and they had their sort of spray hoods up and everything, and I was like, wow, that. It's
hold out furling jibs downwind.
Yeah, furling or jibs that are half furled up because it's too windy, and it's a very it's really nice that people can bring their cruising boats and still have some great racing together. Mm. So and probably having a cup of tea and a nice lunch whilst they're at it.
Mm. Yeah, it's a good cruising ground as well. There's plenty to see out there and around. So your first time to Hamo, so you would have had all the experiences that we all know so well, like. I'm intrigued what the standouts.
Like crashing a golf buggy.
Yeah, crashing a golf buggy, and then
putting a golf buggy in the pool, putting a golf buggy in the elevators. Nothing
stupid. Yeah. The golf buggies have been a bit of a highlight. Actually, they've been really fun. They're very speed limited, so you can have your foot to the floor, and it will only go a certain speed. And then you put a few heavy sailors in the back, and it sort of goes even slower. But they've been really fun actually, and. You obviously got the wallabies jumping around as well, and you've kind of got the that sort of the marina area with all of the music and the food stands and everything going on there. So it's been great.
So for the international listeners, Hamilton Island obviously is the island we're talking about, and on the island you actually are not allowed to drive cars. It's all golf buggies. And it's a very surreal sort of setup. It's very funny when you get there and you get into your golf buggy. The funniest part is, if you see the police around in their golf buggies, get chased in a high speed chase down the hill.
Jump out and run. It's quicker.
That's it.
And then it is a resort too, so there's swim up pools and there's massive pools everywhere, and as I said, it's the middle of winter, and as Ryan said, he's in shorts and t-shirt sailing in the middle of winter, but because of the way the natural system is, everyone sails up in the lead up to it, because you reach up, you sail downwind to get up to Hamo, and then when the weather systems turn, and you sail downwind to get home, so it's almost like the perfect amalgamation of scenarios to create the perfect sailing event. You've got early race week just before as well, so you can do multiple events. For you perspective, being a keelboat sailor originally, are there any new boats up there that have really caught your eye or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. The Cape 31s, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I sort of walked down the marina the other day and sort of had a look at them, and they are really sort of wonderful works of art. They look fantastic. And then seeing them out yesterday, we were quite close to them on the race course. They just look fantastic fun, and I'd love to have a go on one.
Yeah, we're big fans. And if for those who haven't listened to the episode with Mark Mills, just search that on Barkarati, because it's a great discussion. The guy that designed the Cape 31s. Fantastic bloke. Just so much fun to talk to. And next time we're in Ireland, we'll go and have a beer with him. He's a good man, and he designs some very cool boats. And the Cape 31s are right at the top of my wish list. I think same for BP. we've lost Bicey. He's disappeared on us, so that's fine. So I can't speak for Bicey, but yeah. So in terms of experiences for you, mate, how do you rate it?
Oh, Hamilton. Oh, it's been a 10 out of 10 experience. It's been brilliant.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's been so cool. And I think, the both onshore and on the water have been amazing. Having these wonderful like passage races where you're sailing past some of the most beautiful islands you'll probably ever see has been amazing. Blue sort of water, which looks, you can see right through it. It's just wonderful. It's been great here. So I'd recommend anyone.
How about our friends from the Humpback Whale Union?
Yeah, the whale.
Southern Right Whale Union, I should say.
We actually saw, we thought this whale, we were going upwind and we sort of sailed past what we thought was a canoe, what we thought was a raft. It was actually, we thought it was a whale's tail sticking out of the water.
Yep.
The whale sort of vertical, sort of sticking up.
Yep.
And we thought it was dead because it didn't move.
It's just sunbaking.
We were then enjoying the weather like you were.
Well, we thought it actually entered Hamilton Island Race Week because it was doing a thing when we Wikipedia'd it called tail sailing. Where they don't really know why they do it. It could be to do with feeding, or it could be to do with just having a rest. I don't know. But they stick their tail up and let the wind just sort of take them, and they stay like that for ages. So we're pleased it was still alive and enjoying the conditions. Yeah.
Yeah.
One time we were sailing along, Jay, on the old Secret Men's business, and there was this. You could sort of see this little baby whale in front of us. We had the spinnaker up, and we were sailing pretty square VMG. And this little whale was like, "Oh, look at this! It's all exciting for him." Like he had his head up right in front of us, like literally amazing. 2 or 3 boat lengths. And next thing you know, the mum said, "You stupid little prick!" Jumped up onto him and pushed him down underneath our boat.
Oh, okay, wow!
Because we were going to hit it because we couldn't go anywhere. We were like, "Well, what do we do? We're going to round up." It was 20 knots.
Wow!
We couldn't get the pole forward, or because it would have happened all too quick.
Yeah,
so.
Amazing. Yeah, that's the other element for Hamo that time of the year. The whales are going past. Nice. You get whales everywhere. It's amazing. It is truly amazing. It's a great event. So you've had a really good experience. What boat were you racing on again?
An XP38 called Escapade.
Okay, so what division was you in? You're doing IRC, I assume?
No, we were in the yellow group, so it was performance handicap system.
Okay, cool.
So we had similar size sort of boats, between about 38 and sort of 45 feet in our division.
Nice. It sounds like it's been a fantastic experience. So coming to Oz has worked out really well for you by the sounds of it. You've got the B14, you're doing Hamo, sailing's giving you a lot of gifts. Life's good for Ryan.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been great. Yeah, I'm loving being here. So thank you for having me, I guess.
Well, we got a bit more news for you, Ryan. With the Worlds coming up, you've been on Baccarati. I'm not sure how much you know about Baccarati, but any commentator in sport, they talk about the commentator's curse. You come and someone talks about you and then everything goes wrong. Baccarati has the exact opposite. We've got what we call the reverse curse. It has anyone that comes on the show just goes gangbusters from then on. So just be warned. You've got a potential world championship in the pocket already. You won't
realise it. It just happens.
Yeah.
So you don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
You don't. It just sort of. It's just in your pocket the whole time. You can't get rid of it. You throw it away, it'll end up back in your pocket.
Oh, well, no, that's very reassuring because I need all the help I can get.
That's good. Well, yeah, take that reverse curse. But remember to also with the banter. So just stand up and just say to everyone, I've got the reverse curse.
Just watch out.
Well,
that's awesome. Thank you for the reverse curse. That's brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. Hey, thanks for taking time to chat to us, bud. And we're really excited for you. We do 100%. BP is Sydney based, so he'll come down and say good day. But when I'm in Sydney next, we'll come and have a bit of a chat, maybe even a play on one of your boats because I do like them. And for anyone looking, give them a go. Sounds like a friendly bunch.
Having spent a lot of time in my younger years at Woollahra Sailing Club through various forms of sailing and obviously working very closely with Julian, I do know the boats quite well. I have sailed them a couple of times. Cool boats, and more importantly, it's kind of kept the tradition of the Taser going forward with a family sort of friendship-based class that generally just get on the water and have an absolute ball on and off the water. So for those people who are looking for a class that's next level excitement, it's got the asymmetrical spinnaker, it's got plenty of power, and want to go fast on a fun, accessible little boat, this is the one for you, definitely. Yeah.
Looks like around that 150, 160 kilos is probably the right combination crew weight, but they can go lighter. And they also do travel a bit, I've noticed. You see some of the regattas up and down the coast, they're turning up, so that's good. I think, chance to jump into a fun class if you don't want to be super, super serious, if you want to take your time, get knowledgeable. But, yeah, have fun. Fun. That's sailing.
Absolutely. That's what we're all about here, fun.
Yep.
So, yeah, look, and that's where it's sort of with the travel. I mean, the traveling is a huge part of our sport, isn't it? And something that I've done as well in the last couple of weeks is I've been doing a lot of traveling. And what I've actually worked out is Radix is a perfect option for your travel because the packaging is so small. I'm now taking 2 weeks or 3 weeks worth of breakfasts away with me.
BP, you've just triggered something in my head.
Yeah.
You know how we've decided we're going to design the travel suit rather than the track suit?
Pockets for Radix.
You can have your Radix pockets, exactly. Yeah. And, you could actually, you pick up...
It's strange, right? Because, I travel a lot at the moment. I mean, I've just got back from Canada on Tuesday. I go back to the UK next Sunday. I actually take two Radix breakfasts with me on the plane, and I walk up to the hostess or hostesses and I say, can I have a glass of milk, please?
Glass of milk? What?
Yeah, because I mix my breakfast with milk.
Yeah.
And, open her up, crack into it. None of that bloody...
Better than the airplane stuff, yes.
Airline food.
Yes.
But no, it's definitely a cool option. And so, traveling is another aspect in which Radix comes in absolutely perfectly.
Brilliant.
You can take it away. Like I said to you, I was away for 20 days and I reckon I had Radix 15 or 16 of those days.
Wow. Well, if you do want to jump in and experience the same life, BP's 100% right. The amount of travel we do, we've actually worked out a lot of these tricks and, nutrition for everybody from Radix Nutrition. Just go to their website, use Bar-Karate as the discount code, one word, and get a discount on us and enjoy the fabulous Radix solution for food.
Next time on your plane trip, take 1 or 2 with you.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, events that are coming up. The Azimuth Challenge is happening on the September 10 to 15 in Lorient. So that's the IMOCA stuff.
Yeah, funnest little event, I reckon.
Yep. So they do the speed runs. They've got a 48-hour race and tour of the island of Groix. Let's call it that. I have no idea how they pronounce that at all.
Groix.
Is it?
No, it's probably Groix.
I think it's Groix. But no, Groix. I like Groix better.
Groix.
Yeah, where Asterix came from.
Yeah. and Radix.
Yeah, and Radix. Yeah. The other one of interest in that sort of world is the Class 40s have got their Channel Island race, the Normandy Channel race, September 13 to 22. That's about 1,000 miles of sailing through the English Channel and the Celtic Sea. So
that's a tough race. I mean,
tough.
In any time in the Channel Island region, the tides, my God, it's insane. And it can be really brutal. So it's a tough race. Yeah. Yeah, no, looking forward to so that's all going on. Obviously the cup's on, and we're all pretty focused in on that. But there's still plenty going on. We'll touch on some of that in Hot Time with Bice as well. Jack Lloyd Listener of the Week is presented by Vycobi. Listener of the Month gets a $200 voucher. I think it was due to run out this month, but I think we got some agreement from Pat last week that it'll continue, I think. I'm not quite sure. We haven't followed up on that, but we definitely followed up on the sun shirts. That's happening. That's 100%. We've got to talk a little bit about that. I mean, that's something we're going to talk about, isn't it? Yeah, we'll come back to that. But we do have a lot of emails this week. And more coming overnight. So, yeah. It's happy days. Look, David McElwee sounds like he's sailing in Ireland. And he sent us a very long email. So, David, I'm not going to read it all out on air. But I do want to highlight that, he has
he stumbled onto us. He called us fine blokes, which I very much appreciate that. One of my favourite parts of the world, Ireland. I love going to Ireland. I love hanging out with the Irish. They're a ton of fun. The Western Australians, I'd probably call it. Is that the best way?
Australians?
Yeah, Northwestern Australians. We love them.
Yep.
He's become an avid listener, and the dog's loving the extended walks. And he talks about the current state of our sport, especially youth pickup, which really resonated with him because he started young at 12 and got super keen, did all sorts of classes, including mirrors, picos, toppers, RS fevers, and laser, and he kept that for a while, but
everyone gets busy
and dropped out. Yeah, went in, did his engineering and, wife, kids, house, family. Now he's sort of come back. And the pathway back for him has been, Baccarati, but to buy an old fireball. He bought a cheap fireball for €750. And he's loving it. He said bargain performance. He's having a great time. It's a bit of a project boat. He's got to do a lot of work to bring it up, which he's enjoying, which is great. And then, the Fireball Island community's been helping him out, and a lot of fleet stuff, and he's showing some photos of people that are in their 70s and all sorts of stuff. So he's got a guy on the wire, Phil O'Reilly on the wire at 67. So he's talking about fun boats and what's bringing people back.
Shout out to Philip O'Reilly, who's just gotten his bus pass. I'm assuming that's the concession for being 67 years old, and he's out on wire with zero pause.
I love it. And the good thing about one of the things I really do like about it is he's brought his wife into the sport, and now he's bringing his daughter into the sport. So just go sailing. That's the trick. So love that.
It's another sort of testament, I guess, to these sort of older classes that are around. And we discussed, obviously our topic today was B14s, and a perfect example if you wanted to get into a boat that was performance orientated. These are the types of boats that are around and classes that are still going.
Yeah, it's cool. Email from Cole Riffle, US based, I think. Hey, he's just gone, ahoy. I've just realised the LA Games in 28 would be a perfect opportunity for the bar karate two-handed Olympic challenge. Think Transpac. Start when the flame is lit, and it may take till the flame goes out to finish in Hawaii, depending on the sailing weapon of choice. Just a thought. Love the show. Good idea. Good thought. Oh, what do you think, BP?
Oh, I'm in. X2 is already ready to go.
Ooh, even get yourself a free plug. I love it. I love it.
No. Well, I don't know if you saw this one this morning, but Lawson Shaw, one of our regulars, has popped in with a couple of notes. Obviously, on the theme of the America's Cup, match racing is back. He says, how good has the first 2 days of cup racing been? We'll talk about this later. But again, he's talking a little bit of a point which we will talk about, but let's leave that one there for the moment, I think, because we're going to talk about this in depth.
Okay. This one I do want to read out in full because it's important. So it's Grant Muirman. He said, gents, I'm just over a year now since I started sailing last June and found the podcast shortly after. My first message to you was in October last year when I'd found my way onto the bow of a J35 here outside of Seattle, Washington. Okay, so the northwest coast of the US. I'm emailing to say thanks for what you guys are doing, and I wouldn't be here where I am now if it wasn't for the podcast. After the episode interviewing Peter Gibbons Neff before the Mini Transat, I connected with US Patriot Sailing. I started sailing with that organisation on a Rocket 22 in Seattle, met several other veterans who sail my age and experience level. Did a fair amount of sailing through the winter, some with US Patriot, but mostly on a J35. Fast forward to March, April this year, another skipper asked me to come sailing on his J33. He was new to the area, struggling to build a reliable crew. We only sailed a couple of times before he started dealing with some health issues, but he asked me to continue to race the boat and build the crew. He said, and I quote, "Have fun, it's insured." That's the sort of owner you want. Over the past 3 months, I've been able to build a crew out of fellow vets and active duty service members, all around 30-ish years old, more than half of which had never sailed before. The last 3 locals races we've taken 4th, and 2 of those were only seconds behind the 3rd place boat. This past weekend, me and another crew member took first in class in the 30-mile double-handed race.
There you go.
With access to the boat, I've been able to introduce about 15 or so new, youngish people to the sport, including my wife, my brother.
He's getting the award.
Yep, and we've all started doing our fair share of bar karate. To cap it all off, since I'm a normal-sized human being, I recently bought myself a 505.
Stop there.
No, and took it out for the first time Sunday. Had an absolute blast on that boat, even when I missed the hook on my way out to Trapeze and drank a healthy portion of salt water. Next mission is to try and revive the 50 fleet in Seattle. There's plenty of good 50 American sailors that will help you with that.
Well,
I sail every chance I get. Look forward to the podcast every Sunday. Genuinely, thanks for what you do. I'm certain there are many more with stories just like mine. P.S. The J33 is called Keet, K-E-E-T, and the owner is Jim Hoy. On your Jim, you bloody legend. Keep an eye out for us if you ever make it to the northwest of the United States. Beautiful. And
guys at work call me
Momo. I think we called him. We came up with a nickname for him and it stuck, and that makes us even more happy. I love it. Cheers, Grant. Beautiful email. That's going to be a very hard email to beat.
I was sitting here listening to Jordan read that out, and I can tell you his legs turned to jelly when you mentioned 505. So you've got him. For those out there who want to win Listener of the Month, all you got to do is mention 505 to Jay, you're going to get a pretty big big potential award.
Okay. The other one I want to talk about is one from Robbie Colasino. A few months back, I sent you a suggestion about flying drones over the racetrack with wind instruments, producing a wind simulation. Visual showing puffs and lulls over the racecourse in real time as the race was ongoing. After watching the first stage of the Cup, I saw that exactly what I was envisioning is happening. The wind map they put up showed where the wind was moving down the racetrack. You saw American Magic tacking along the boundary on the right to stay in the heavy pressure, put meters on Ineos. Happy to see visuals adding knowledge to the sport, and frustrated I didn't put it into action myself. I believe I heard them say it was a simulation and not physical drones, but the product is still great. Congratulations. Cheers from New Orleans Transplant in Northern Australia. Have you seen that with the Cup, BP?
I have. I've been looking at that. I like it. And I was watching one of the races with American Magic, and you could sort of it paid. I mean, on the water, what Slingers and Goodison and the team are looking at is pretty divisive. I've sailed a lot in that water just there, and you can definitely get some big gains like that. And it was there on the screen. And it was and the ghost boat as well. It was all there, and what Slingers and the boys did on that first day, where they seemed to sail really nicely. They did. It was pretty close.
So if people like it and are interested, just reach out and let us know, because I'm pretty sure world famous 505 sailor is heavily involved in creating that, and so we'll be able to reach out directly.
Of course he is.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% certain that I've got direct connection. So I can find out all about that if you'd like. If people want to find out more about that, let us know and we'll reach out and go from there. But Momo, with that email, that was an absolute cracker.
Yeah. So. What do we say? Wimo.
Yeah, I can't remember now. But at least everyone at work's still calling it. You can remind us, buddy, how to pronounce it. I think it was Momo.
No, and I mean the big point I take out of that email is getting 15 plus people in the water who've never sailed before. I mean, anyone who's doing that, in my book, is legend status.
Yeah. So at this moment, he is 100% leading the way. We've had some great emails this month. Congratulations, everyone sending me in.
Send them in.
Yep, very happy. Cool. Moving on.
It's hot time with
BP.
I was trying to come in and say, it's not time with Bice.
No Bice. He had to disappear.
We started off with a Bice, but he he fell down the toilet.
Yeah, something's happened. He's had to disappear. So we'll continue on. Let's talk about the Cup, buddy.
Straight into it.
Yeah,
it's the hottest topic at the moment.
Yeah. Are you enjoying it?
Mate, I think I sort of touched on it at the start. I am. What I think I am seeing is definitely still a lot of tentativeness, obviously in the match racing side of it, which is what we expected. But boat speed wise, I'm starting to get a feel for it. Obviously today was interesting with the damage to American Magic. That'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Yesterday with Orient Express suffering some damage. Other boats seem to be fairly reliable, which is good. I mean, the breakages are a part of this sort of, I guess, phase we're in. But boat speed wise, you're starting to see it. You're starting to see you know what it's about. And I tell you what, though, you win that start, it's not easy to get back in front, is it?
Okay. So you've thrown out a whole bunch of points here, buddy.
Yeah.
First off, the best race. I haven't watched all the races yet. I've got a couple to go, or one to go. Race 1 of day 3, which was today, yesterday. That's just happened. Let's call it Saturday. Saturday, because we'll publish on Sunday. Alinghi Ineos. That was the best race of the regatta so far, where we saw a pretty good even start. The boys on Ineos to leeward, and Alinghi sat on their hip and then got the lead, and then the Ineos boys tacked off, cleared the lane, and then were smart where they got their tack. They came back on the lay, so they reduced the number of tacks, and then they got to the lead and extended away. That was good racing. That was a really good one. So I've got some observations.
Righto.
Winning the start is everything.
100%.
Right? Until we had that race today with Alinghi and Ineos, we haven't seen anyone cross tacks and pass, right? We've seen, that's the first race where we've seen people passing each other. And I've been thinking about this, BP. When you're in a match race, obviously, if you're in front, you can put dirty air on the boat behind, and normally you've got them locked away. But with these boats, the other element that's coming into play, and this is what I reckon is happening, is when you're leading, you can choose when you want to tack or jibe, right? You can pick your lane. And so on these boats, if you can jibe into or tack into pressure, 1 knot is 3 or 4 knots of boat speed difference.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
that's the variable that I think a lot of people are not taking into consideration.
Yep. So I don't reckon the boat speed's that much difference, because once you're in front, you're just extending, because you've got the choice of your course. Covering's even less important than actually staying in that pressure, because you get a little bit of height, you get a little bit of speed. So your VMG's jumping quite significantly. And I think that means that the start is everything.
Well, I think, and that's my point I made a second ago, that we've got a level of tentativeness in the fact that this is the first sort of, trial regatta, if you like. I think by the time we see the cup, the sheep stations part of the events, we're going to see some aggressive manoeuvres. There was a bit of aggressiveness shown by Spithill.
Oh, yesterday,
which was just red mist everywhere. I mean, there was just bloody Ginger.
Kinger on Kinger. That was the American Magic versus Luna Rossa one. Is that the one?
You could just see it. It wasn't the blue from the wind. You know what? It was just red everywhere.
Yeah, red mist. Yeah. Kinger on Kinger. It was
Kinger on Kinger. And that was an example probably of someone, look, I mean, Slingers has been around in these falling boats a long time, and Slingers and Spithill sailed against each other a lot. And that was the first sort of aggressive.
That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, as I said to you, it's going to get very aggressive.
Yep.
Once they've worked it out, and once they've ironed out all these bits and pieces that are going on. But, boat speed still comes into it, as you say. And as you say just then, a really key point is boat speed's not 0.1 of a knot or 0.3 of a knot as it used to be. It's 5 knots. It's 4 knots.
Yep.
And that's a huge difference.
The other thing I've noticed, and this is something that Slingers has really been doing in Sail GP a lot, and I've had quite discussions with him about it, and I reckon it is part of the philosophy of American Magic. They do their tacks, like they'll give up a cover if they can sail a little bit further and it drops 1 or 2 tacks out of their upward beat.
It's what they did against Ineos.
Yep.
And that race was a real eye-opener for me on two points. One, they didn't cover, but off the start line, they had a high mode. And I think people are still learning that as well. I mean, a boat that's got modes, I think, is going to be
hard to beat,
absolute winner. And when
as long as the rudder keeps working.
Well, I mean, we can expect these little things to happen. It might not be, okay, whatever happened. But just on that start with Ineos yesterday, the first race, I mean, you could hear Slingers say, we want high mode, and basically pulled off a lee bow. And that was it from there. Once they had that situation where Ineos couldn't sit there, they dictated to the race. But where I expected them to come back and just sort of say, okay, we'll sail in the same wind conditions, but we'll just sit on them. They did extend out hard to the right and came back and lay line from outside.
Yep. So the minimising manoeuvres, a manoeuvre's a good 75 metres minimum.
100%.
So that is going to become part of it even more. If you can minimise manoeuvres and tack into puffs, you're making massive gains. So that is the two of the things that have really jumped out to me when I watch it. Then in that, speaking of dial-ups, the other aggressive start was the New Zealand Ineos start in day 2.
Yeah.
When we saw the Kiwis got that little hook, I think it was, they got to come up inside them and push the poms off the foils.
Yeah. And that's one we discussed a while ago. I think we mentioned that. If you've got the ability to get someone off the foils, it's race over.
Now, here's my question.
Righto.
We know that the Ineos boat's bigger.
Mm-hmm.
It's
what do you call it?
The tank.
Tank.
The tank.
And I'll tell you what, there was aerial footage of it going downwind the other day. It looks fantastic.
She goes great.
It is a big boat.
She smokes downhill, that's for sure.
Yeah,
she's got beautiful VMG and really lining up the length where you can sail in that extra pressure.
But what did we say earlier? If you're in the front, you're extending. You can't rely on a.
Here's my question though.
Sail. Okay.
The bigger boat, more
susceptible to coming off foils.
Is it? If you try and throw tight turns on that bigger boat against some of the sort of more nimble-looking boats, can it do those tighter turns? Is it restricted on those tighter turns? I was just wondering whether is it slightly less manoeuvrable is the question I'm asking.
Well, which comes back to the point of we saw it yesterday. We're going to see more of that aggression, and the part of this racing is going to be oppositions working out a weakness of that boat and that design, and it's going to be pretty stand out. It's not going to be able to be hidden because you can't change anything now.
I don't think that. Well, they can change. There's still. Remember, this is the preliminary regatta.
I mean, the boat's the boat now. That's it. If the boat's the problem,
they're
stuck with it, and you're going to see. It's kind of like any sport. If there's a weakness in any sport, the opposition attacks it, and that's what that's what they're going to be trying to work out.
That could be it. That could be absolutely it. So I'm really interested if that is something of potential. The other question, remember we're in the preliminary regatta, right? Mm-hmm. So this is not going to, we start in the real regatta in a couple of days where we start potentially losing teams. This preliminary regatta, I've looked at the New Zealand races, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the New Zealand races, we saw the Italians have a really tight start, really good battle for a big battle, and New Zealand just let off. And they were like, a metre in it, and then something went wrong with the Italian boat. And then the French, something went wrong with the French boat. And then, if you go through it, the Kiwis have not had, I think they've had one race, but even in that race it was against Ineos, and Are
you sort of going down a conspiracy theorist path here?
Are the teams throwing races against the Kiwis so the Kiwis don't get any race development? The defender doesn't get any practice.
You're going the opposite way.
I'm saying that is it possible that they've all made a decision not to give the Kiwis any information, as little as they can, until it doesn't matter?
Oh,
it does matter.
God. Here we go.
I love it, eh? I'm serious.
No, mate. Who knows?
It's happened. It's happening. It's definitely happening. No, I love it. But anyway, good viewing. Cups on.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like the coverage. I think there's a fair bit of commentary going on about the fact, and from the traditionalists, which I have, a very broad view of yachting in general. I'm in the camp of this is good for yachting. But I do respect some commentary that's come out saying that once they've started, it's boring. There was that email I was just mentioning from Lawson Shaw, who sort of mentions it's like watching Formula One with two cars, Red Bull against an Alpine or something like that, where it just sort of turns into a drag race. There is that element.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, it's just the technology that I love.
Yeah. Well, I think what we're going to see, BP, for, the way I'm watching it, if I get bored, I can skip forward, because I can just speed through, when it's decided. Like once you're in front, as we said before, once you're in front, you're just going to extend because you've got the choice of your lanes and you've got cover. So I think, the minute a boat's in front and stepped out 150 metres, it's impossible to pass on these boats. That's the one downside about these boats. Sure, I like watching.
At the moment, let's see what happens. I mean,
it's going to get closer and closer as we go.
I have no question it's going to get closer and closer. And that's my point I was making earlier, that we're going to see more aggression.
Yep.
So
it's going to be good. It's definitely going to be good. But just enjoy it for what we've got. Sure, slow boat match racing's I prefer.
Let's just go to opinion at the moment now. Personal opinion on the boats. What are you liking? What are you seeing of
the Kiwis have definitely got. They look quick. I think the Italians look quick. American Magic looks quick.
For me, I've been sort of obviously for reasons as you know, I've been looking at American Magic and I see a very cool package.
Sure. Really well sorted. I think basically when we get down to their cup itself, it's going to be one hell of a battle. It's not going to be easy. Whoever wins is going to it's going to be one hell of a dogfight. It'll be very aggressive.
I think there's quite an element of luck as well.
Sure.
More than what you'd have in a standard dial up with a V5 or a 12 meter. It's going to come down to a little bit of luck, and that's going to be an interesting facet to add in.
Even the Louis Vuitton final is just going to be intense. If you go through the fleet, they're all they've got strong history. Alingi's got this amazing history, but it's sort of new to these types of boats. They had the gap in the Cup history. Orient Express, we know the team behind that. We know that they're strong. They'll get there, but I don't think it'll be this Cup. I think they've got a few issues they're still sorting out, but they're in multiple Cups this entry, so that's great for the sport.
There was an interview on actually with Stefan Candler a while back. Now, I was with Arriva in 2007. Great experience, and Stefan is a fantastic person. He's obviously the main man behind this, and there was a little interview with him. After a Arriva challenge in 2007, he pulled the pin and he went into the vineyards. He'd be a good guy to get on and have a chat, actually. So I'll reach out to him. He went into the vineyards and produced wine and, did the French thing, cruised around and did all that. But it was biting. It was eating at him. He came back, and I think he's really excited about the future. So, and obviously working with Bruno Dubois, our fellow Baccaradian, things are good.
Yeah,
I think they'll get there.
It's cool, but the depth of some of these teams is fantastic. It is exciting. Just so happy to be able to watch it and enjoy it. So we'll keep watching and enjoying. And wish I could have gone. I had a chance to go, but I had to turn it down. I had to travel for my real job, but would have loved to have been there. You're going to be there.
I'm going to bend over backwards to get down for a couple of days. I've just got to make it happen.
I think Bice is going to be there, so we'll have some pretty good insights into the Cup.
I'll be steering clear of that.
Steer clear of that. Okay, capsizing super yachts, BP.
Yeah, very.
This
very
is a story. We've got to be careful how we tread with this one because we don't want to be executed.
Well, that's it. We've already discussed that off air, but look. There's two points that I want to bring up here. I did a little bit of research on this, and it was to do with the planet itself. And there's something really incredible going on in the Med. In the last couple of years, we've seen some pretty full-on weather situations through whether it be Parma or down through that part of the coast, Italy. Did you know that the water temperature is the hottest it's ever been in the Mediterranean?
Wow.
It's on an average at 28.5 degrees at the moment.
Wow. That's pretty hot. That's cyclone.
Hot.
Yeah.
So as you know, my family's from Spain. They live in Valencia, and we live on the Mediterranean there. The family went for a swim the other day and said they had to get out. It was too hot.
Wow.
They felt like they were in a bath.
In a bath.
So, this hot water is producing definitely some differences, but that's just part one of the point. Part two of the point is that these things are instantaneous and very, very localized. So it's not like you can, check a radar or you can check a weather system. It's happening very spontaneously. And I think that's what caught them out. And obviously there's been no real findings as to how it happened.
No.
But we know what super yachts are like in the industry, and especially when they're in full VIP mode. It's lights, underwater lights, it's hatches open. It's a very and the area and Mediterranean is known for beautiful, sedate weather. I mean, this is something that has hit them pretty quickly.
The other thing is that Bacian, that vessel is a lifting keel boat, so it could have had keel up because it was anchored, 500 metres offshore. It could have had keel up. Big waterspout hits it and tips it. Hatches are open, as you say. Doors are open. All I had to, and water starts coming in. Which has
been so many theories. I mean, this
so many theories, but of course,
the problem. The keyboard warriors get on board and blah blah blah. But
so talking to Bice about that boat, they were actually looking at replacing the rig. So it runs a 70-metre aluminium mast with rod rigging, and there was a look at I heard something around, I'm trying to remember what the numbers were, but I think it was if they replaced it with a carbon rig, it would have taken 20 tonnes out of the rigging up above.
100%. I mean, I went through this a couple of times with some super yacht rigs, and they were saying, well, why are we going EC6? Why are we spending 600,000 euros on just rigging? And it's tons. It is tons.
Yeah,
and
tons.
It's not. We're not talking about race yachts here. We're not talking about performance, but what we're talking about is safety as well. I mean, it changes the stability of the boat.
But
so there's arguments for that for sure.
But just like all the conspiracy theory stuff, it's fantastic. This is obviously it's Mike Lynch and his family and those bankers.
Very sad for the people on board, and of course
7 people dead.
The professionals involved, the survivors. I mean, they would be shattered. I mean, it would be just a gut-wrenching experience.
But you would never expect to be at anchor. Let's say, nothing's been proved. We'll have to wait till see how everything comes out. But, it's a great story if you go and read the story. But you would never expect to be at anchor. Let's say what's said is true, that there's enough wind in a little isolated storm that's going to tip your boat over that far and cause the boat to sink.
Well, which comes back to your point of, or our point, I should say, the Med is a playground for the rich and famous. It's a playground for these types of boats that have been doing it for decades. And part of that experience is, having a boat with its lights on underwater and its hatches open so you can sort of, dangle your feet in the water off the back of the boat and, have your toys playing around with your jet skis and your blah blahs. And that's the tradition. And if this has happened like that, then when those hatches are open, they expose the entire boat. I mean, the entire boat is absolutely at the peril.
The irony of the whole thing is Mike Lynch is a mathematician. He was a mathematician, and the software he created that made him quite wealthy was using Bayesian theorem. So Bayes' theorem. I don't know if you're How's your mathematics?
No, really long way from my sort of...
okay. So that's where the name Bayesian comes from, because it's based on Bayes' theorem and the mathematics that he used to create all this wealth. And the irony of the whole thing is that Bayes' theorem is a mathematical rule for inverting conditional probabilities. So it allows you to find the probability of a cause given its effect. They may actually use Bayes...
You are a wealth of knowledge, aren't you?
But he could have actually used it.
Do you have the dynamic static figure of this actual relationship between inversion and inversion? Just off the top of your head.
Yeah, just off the top of my head. That's right. But anyway, all I'll say is at least I knew what Bayes' theorem was enough to go. Oh, hang on, that's Bayes' theorem. Yep.
You're 2 steps ahead of me. So.
Yeah. All right. Cool. We'll leave that there. But there is some. there is.
They're going to understand it. I guess
let's wait till we find more. But
I get from our point of view, being in the yachting industry, I think we've just got to,
from a safety perspective,
think about the people involved and make sure that our condolences are to the loved ones of the unfortunate.
Well, the reason
I refuse to get into. I get so frustrated when I see some of the comments.
Well, that's right. But I think we just have to say, from a safety perspective, just consider all possibilities when you're mooring or sailing.
Probably it takes things like this to reinvigorate that safety at all times attitude. You know, okay, it's night time. Let's close up. Let's make sure everything's pinned. Let's make sure all the, if that was the issue.
Yep.
But it takes something like this to reopen everyone's eyes. People do get lazy.
Okay. All right. Moving on. We'll jump on. So as we said, Hamo's running one. So we've got so many different categories racing at Hamo. I don't think we could probably. Are
you going to go into it? Because
no, it's too much.
Bicey, this is Bicey's wheelhouse, and we're not organised for this. He's abandoned us.
Well, I'm sort of set. So. If you go to the top of the tree alive over wild oats, and then no limit, then Wild Thing 100 in gold, IRC gold. If we just jump down to gold and white, some of the smaller boats, we'll do the IRC. So Icon was his red boat in second, and Toy Box 2 in third in that fleet. We get in trouble if we don't.
Is that IRC 1 or whatever it is?
Yeah, it's like IRC 0, then 1, then 2. So they call it gold black is IRC 2, I think. So just looking at that, Matador, it's had a win, and then Hooligan. So this is the 52s.
52s. Well, that's another big result for Matador there. Emotional Hooligan having a tough start to a little young life.
They'll get there. Zen's been doing real well, going okay. So that's where we're lying out in that. And then we'll just do the Cape 31s as well, and all the other cruising divisions and so forth. Apologies, but we're just not going to go through it. But Cape 31s, Kukukachu, which is David Ross. He's one of the...
We're going to call him a seasoned Cape 31 Australian campaign.
Well, he's the man doing a lot of the promotion for the class in Australia 100%. And put it all together. He's one of those. Julian Newton...
now that's a good result.
It is. It's great.
I was looking at this, having done some sailing with Julian. I always knew that this is his type of boat. He did try out the MC38 after his Thompson 8 that he had, looking for something. His words were, "I want something that scares me." Now, when he bought the MC38, I said, "Well, it's not going to scare you. It's just going to make you angry because it doesn't. They're just funny boats." Yep. Anyway, next story. He's stumbled across the 31. When I saw the result, super stoked for him.
Yeah,
because it's the class that suits this guy. I mean, this is a class that suits this type of guy. Sporty, looking for adrenaline, but a boat that works. And this is the Cape 31.
So, South Australian boat, and obviously BP Bicey and I all sort of met in South Oz, so that's how we're a bit biased. So we got a lot of mates on that boat. So, but here's the thing: the reason we're talking about it. Race 1, they got 4th. Race 2, they got 3rd. Race 3, they got 3rd. Race 4, they got 3rd. Race 5, they got 1st. Race 6, they got 1st. Race 7, they got 1st. They're on the improve. Handicap win for sure for those guys. But as I said, David Ross currently leads, and then B4 Celestial, Sam Haynes' boat is next place.
And he's obviously a friend of our show, Sam, and Celestial TP52 owner has also, I think, has got the bug. So I think you'll find that he'll be a big push in that class.
Well, Celestial's for sale, BP.
Yes, correct, 100%. We know that. And but like I'm saying, the Cape 31, it's people doing what we said is happening. Smaller boats, smaller, easier to manage, less people.
Yep.
No, love it. And Cape 31s are. I'm a big advocate of this class racing. It's high profile, high performance. It's not for the faint-hearted. You got to put everything into it. But it's definitely a growing class.
Okay.
Here in Oz, it's already grown over the seas.
All right. We'll jump off from there. And the Melges 24 Worlds have been on in San Francisco in the US. There's a some talent in that fleet. It looks like it's been won by Convexity. It's all USA boats. Oh, no, Germany. Okay, it's pretty much, there's an Italian. Yep, okay, so it's predominantly USA, so not too many ships. But Don Wilson was the winner there. He's got Jeremy Wilmot on board, so from Chicago. So pretty talented sailor, young Jezza. Bora Galari in second in King's Poke, and then the Sentinel with Jem Fargo and a whole bunch of hot sailors on that. So that looks pretty good. So the Melders 24s has been on. The RC44s racing in their worlds. They're halfway through that World Champs at the moment in Brunnen. The Slovakian boat team, Sarif Veda, is leading currently, tied actually with Team Nika. And then Alif Racing is the next one there on that list. So that's been ongoing. The other one is
Palermo to Monte Carlo.
Palermo Monte Carlo. So congratulations, the old Blackjack taking line honours on that one.
That boat loves that race.
Yes. Yeah.
Having sailed that part of the coast on that boat before, it's not on that boat, on sister ship Ezimit back in the old days.
Yep.
It was cool.
Just running through. So this is a pretty big event over in the Med. A lot of maxi. There is important for the maxis. ORC was won by Starfly, Rimar 44-3. ORC 2 was Victory. It was Srika.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Class 40s Made in Midi, I think, is the boat that won that. So the double-handers, BP, an Ultravox Sears. It's an X. So winner was Ultravox Sears X332. I don't know those. Do you know them? No. Okay. Cool. But anyway, that's been on. And then the only other one that I think we'll talk about that's still going on is the Stockholm Archipelago Raid is underway.
Your favourite race?
I do love it. 100%. 100% do love it.
Are you going to ever do it?
Yes. So they race in F-18s and crash into all the atolls around Sweden.
But I like that answer. There was no, I've got...
No excuse, even though the water's cold. But yeah.
You just got to wear nice big, knee pads and get some of those little, those warmers you wear in your knees. Keep your knees warm.
I love it. Anyway, they got it's a adventure. It's something different. That's why I want to do it, because it's something different. But Jacob and Oscar Lindquist are leading as far as I can work out on that one. And then from Frederick Carlson and Nicholas Nordblom, and then Pete Busk and Ricard Blomberg. So 3 Swedes in the lead, then a German crew, then the Dutch crew, Denmark. So it is multi-nations, and everyone's out there doing it and having a good time. Makes me very happy to see. Anything else we want to bring up, BP?
No, that's it. Very, very busy on my end. Heading back over to the continent, Europe next week. So got a lot on.
You and BP, Bicey on the same plane? I reckon Bicey leaves on Tuesday.
No, I'm leaving. I'll be next Sunday, Monday.
Okay.
But no, lots on. So coming to you from over there, or keep my head to the ground and see what's going on. Still very busy in the sailing world over there. So yeah, keep you posted. Yeah,
I've got plenty of travel coming up too, so it's going to be very hard to put Baccarati together, but we'll give it a go.
It's a bloody nightmare. It's like trying to launch a NASA space shuttle every freaking weekend.
Oh, well. Look, everyone seems to love it.
I'm always the guy that's usually left something behind and running late, like.
Everyone seems to love it. We get some great fan contact. Reach out to us at cheers@barkarati.com and send in a chance to win the Vycobi voucher. Apart from that, hoodies still for sale. They're fantastic. There's
what about our sun shirt?
Sun shirts, that's underway. That'll be very soon. So, but hoodies are in stock. Jump on at website at barkarati.com for that. And then, also our friends at Radix Nutrition. Jump up onto their website, and if you need some nutrition, you've got a regatta coming up, grab the Radix.
Or you're travelling.
Or you're
getting on a plane.
Yep. And then away you go. Use Barkarati for the discount code. See you next week, mate.
See you later. Have fun. See you, Bicey.
Wherever you are.
Bicey. Bicey. Hey, Bice. See you, mate.
Oh, right on the end.
What's that?
I got it right on the end. That was
Well
perfect timing.